going on, everybody? I just figured it'd be a fun activity right now to do a daily forecast for tomorrow, the 31st in New York State. That's Northeast as well. Need to do my own weather forecast for the morning show for our radio station here at Rockport, and just figured it would be a fun little task to share with everybody. So I'll just get right to it because I don't have much time before my next class here. So I gotta give a little background when I'm looking at the weather maps here. I like to kind of go by a single frame because I'm only doing a 24-hour forecast, nothing further out. So I prefer to use the AHRR model. It's a convective model, and it also very much helps, at least with the breakdown of like a 24-hour time frame. It runs off a 48-hour frame. However, for me, I'm just looking for the next 24 hours into Friday. Basically forecasting from Friday morning into the overnight, the Saturday morning, really, the overnight. So we're going to be looking from that time frame on. One thing to notice, if you could see that the times here are something of Z or UTC, Universal Time. So the way it kind of works, a little trick is right now we're in daylight savings, so we're put the clock back an hour, so we are 5 hours behind from whenever the time is for UTC. So see where I have highlighted here for frame 12, it shows Friday 2025 01:31 and 00. So you go back 5 hours from then, and you're looking at 7 o'clock p.m. still on Thursday for this frame. So really you're looking, even though it says Friday, it's Thursday, and it's Thursday at 7 p.m. snowing in the Adirondacks, to give you an example. So I'm going to be starting from about roughly around like 6 a.m. And 6 a.m. for what I'm looking for is about 11 o'clock Universal Time. So the main things that we just need to cover for the forecast is just precipitate, the normal weather forecasting stuff, you know, precipitation, temperature, conditions basically throughout the day. So I'm just going to be looking through the morning frame here from, I said, about 5, 6 o'clock, and then taking it all the way to about 5 o'clock Universal Time or noon for our time, Eastern Standard Time. So take a little step back for everybody. And what we first see for the morning is definitely a warm up in the temperatures. You're looking, first of all, at 1,500 millibar thickness chart. This helps show precipitation, the activity between basically the surface and 500 millibars. We do see the 540 line kind of that indicates, you know, precipitation that's going to be more frozen or snow. It is lifting and being pushed up into Canada. And I can kind of just do a couple frames here. Throughout the morning, it looks like there's going to be a chance of possible rain. And that's only possible because it is moving fairly slowly. Yeah, so okay, I am going to assume there's going to be a very slight chance of moisture. The last thing, whenever there's like, whenever I'm looking at this chart and it's questionable whether it will precipitate or not, something that does help. And I am covering this portion of New York State, the western part of New York, these counties, Monroe, Orleans, Genesee, Livingston, and I believe down, trying to remember those names down there. God, I can't remember the names of those counties. And I do remember them because they're hard to pronounce. Chautauqua, yeah, that's it. Chautauqua and Allegheny and one more. Got it, and it'll come to my head. And Erie's right there. But nevertheless, so what I like to do is just kind of take a sounding in certain areas to kind of give a little bit more of an accurate forecast for questionable areas that may or may not have precipitation. So, I mean, you're looking, it may actually, where the sounding is dropped, there is a, I guess, possibility that it could snow while this is coming in. That's pretty likely, as you know, it is pretty often that happens when a warm front comes in after cold air has just been sitting in a certain area for a while. Kind of follows this line here, like I said, the 540 line. And looking down in the southern part of the tier, the Chautauqua, Allegheny, I'm still trying to think, Cattaraugus, that's it, the other one. Cattaraugus County. Yeah, knew it would figure it out. There's indefinite, obviously you can see there's indefinite precipitation going on. Whether it's going to be rain, more rain, snow, it'll probably start off as more of a snowy mix with rain and then kind of proceed to rain, I guess, as it gets closer to the afternoon time. So I'm thinking that most of the county is going to experience some precipitation in the later portion of the morning, with most conditions in the morning hours to be mainly, let's say the early morning hours. At least the southern tier is going to be experiencing most of the precipitation in the late morning hours. Northwestern portion of the state, I guess, would be having a slight chance of precipitation. I'm also going to take a look at some temperatures too. Obviously, something else that is very important to forecast. Early morning hours, we're looking at right about freezing for most portions of the area. These are higher elevated regions too in the southern tier. If people are not familiar with the southern tier of New York State, there is, hills, mountains, I guess you call them that, remnants of mountains there. So these places are elevated. So as a warm front's coming in, the warmer temperatures tend to be a little bit more aloft. So it tends to give way to having warmer temperatures in these regions. And that's why they're probably going to have a lot more rain precipitating as the front continues to move in the morning hours. One other thing that I like to look at before I actually make a judgment call on temperature is just looking at the cloud coverage. Because in the cloud coverage, if there's 100% cloud coverage, you can pretty much be a lot more accurate with the numbers that are actually being shown on the chart, and you don't have to kind of adjust. When it is clear out, solar radiation is a big thing that people will tend to overlook, because you do need to increase the temperatures by like 3 to 5 degrees, depending on location that you are forecasting. A place that is more of an urban dense area will warm up a lot faster, and compared to something that is middle of the forest. So looking around a range, trying to get a good range kind of forecast for tomorrow, looking maybe in the morning times, starting off the mornings in the southern tier, about 36 to 34, and so probably going to give a range of probably like 29 to, probably in the like low 30s, say like 30 to 34 degrees, 35 degrees. I give and then just say that most, let's see, temperatures. Everyone gets to listen to me do this too. Temperatures in the morning time. Temperatures in the morning time. Mostly be above freezing. With colder temps. Right, so I have temperatures. With cold temperatures. So I put my little description down where the temperatures will start the morning off, and then try to get a morning high And then my morning high is probably going to be around 35, 36 degrees, it looks like. Yeah. Ooh, heat wave. Heat wave in Cattaraugus County. All right, so I would say probably in the high 30s. So I have temperatures in the morning. Time will mostly be above freezing with colder temperatures to the north. Expect morning high to reach into the high 30s. So reach into the high 30s. Precipitation, since we looked at precipitation will be primarily in the southern tier in the early morning hours. With more widespread showers to the north and the other part of the morning. And slight chance for wintry mix for the northern regions. Slight chance for a wintry mix in the northern portion of western New York. Afternoon time. There's a lot in there. I only have 30 seconds to do each forecast, so basically 30 seconds of words, I think, right there. So moving on to the afternoon. Basically, the afternoon will go from 5 o'clock to 1 o'clock, really. No, from 1 o'clock to about 10 o'clock. Yes, to about 10 o'clock here. It looked like, so from what I looked at the synoptic view of the whole country and the patterns going on, it looks like there was a couple clippers coming down from the Canadian plains, going through Ontario. We had one the other day. There's another one that's going to be blowing by throughout the day tomorrow, influenced as well by the low that is moving through the Central Plains right now in the southeast. And that's what's going to bring up that the warm air tomorrow, and that precipitation is from the southeast, and it's going to help as it moves on through, drag down some of that cold air later on in the day. The warm air will not stay around for that long. It'll be a very, very short period of time. It's only throughout the day today into tomorrow, technically, even though it's only like 25 degrees right now. It's going to warm up throughout the rest of the day. It's going to be a heat wave, folks. Heat wave. So I'm going to first, I think, before I would make a judgment call on any temperature or precipitation or anything else, I need to kind of look to see which way the winds are shifting. What I like to look at is when I'm doing more regional, 700 and 850, just to kind of give me the effective The 700 is really good to look at to see which direction the wind is kind of blowing, to see if it's going to be blowing in a direction particularly off of the lakes, creating lake effect snow. It's kind of a big hazard with these the winter weather events, especially when there's a synoptic system that is going on by. But it does look, for the most part. So you can see how we had in the morning time, see where the winds are still slightly moving up, indicating that there's still somewhat of a frontal warm front coming in. But as soon as we hit the afternoon, the winds, oh no, they still are kind of warming up still a little bit. Okay, so I was still moving in. This is why I check. It's very interesting. There's a very fine line here in the wind patterns, because like I said, there's kind of a clipper that'll be kind of moving already throughout the evening, the night before, and the flow from the low from the southeast is kind of pulling wind in this direction. So I don't think really temperatures are going to do. Temperatures are pretty much going to stay around there. They'll stay around the late 30s. The 30s, it looks like still. Looks like once as soon as sun goes down, that's what I'm trying to look. It's also kind of you got to keep in mind when the sunset kind of comes in to make sure that it's the difference of a cold front moving on in, or if it's just the sun setting and creating diurnal effects in the atmosphere. But it seems like it's definitely a front moving in, as you could tell by just looking at the temperatures as they're just continuously sinking throughout the morning. And this is the next morning coming in. If I really want to look further out. But yeah, that is cold air coming in. So one thing I can look at, I'm just kind of covering the afternoon and the evening to write out the rest of my forecast here. But for the afternoon, yeah, so afternoon's still going to stay. Temperatures look like they're still staying in the mid 30s. So I think the temperatures will continue there to stay. Precipitation looks like it's going to pass. I think this starts moving towards the east. Yeah. That's just where the winter mix is going to come in. So the precipitation chance will continue to increase. And it's like as soon as the sun sets is when we'll start to kind of snow. Plus, as well, this is the center of the low. Picture most of the going counterclockwise, winds going like this, around and around and around. So this is showing that this is going to be snowing at this time. I doubt it will be snowing yet. It's close to sunset. Sunset is at 6. That would make a little bit more sense. If it's at 6, the 540 line, kind of right there. I'm just trying to envision it, but I don't see it. I don't see it yet. Yeah, that looks like it'll be a wintry mix. So I'm gonna say temperatures So temperatures are like are still gonna be in the 30s, high 30s. Doesn't mean it can't snow. So temperatures will remain in the mid to high 30s for most of the afternoon. Temperatures will remain in the 30s, mid to high 30s for most of the afternoon, increasing with rain, precipitation, increasing about the remainder of the day. Yeah, there's a lot of more short days here. Things are going like that. Also going like that. Spectral precipitation to rain in wintry mix in the more northern portions of the spring. Spot. I'm expecting most precipitation to be rain with the wintry mix in the more northern portions of western New York. And the last thing we do rainfall totals will be up to half of an inch. Uh, Coming in now. So, okay, so what I'm looking at is from here, from 22Z, which is 5 o'clock, going into the evening, looking for about midnight. It's about 5 o'clock in the morning. This is where the snow's going to be coming. And it's going to be good timing on the, so it's good timing on the low here because it's going to, so what's going to happen is there's going to be a pretty decent drop, it looks like, in the temperatures. Cold front kind of comes in right at the right time. This is kind of right where the front is, the cold front's about to happen, and sunset happens right about there. So sunset 6 into 7, and once it crosses over around 7 o'clock, like when the winds will start to really shift and move in the direction more across the lake and give that cross lake flow, and the synoptic movements will also help be able to create some buildup with the snow in the area. Most of I don't think there'll be much stationary banding. If anything, any stationary banning for when that may occur. If anything, probably is going to occur in this region slightly here. You got a short wave. It looks like it's just sitting over Lake Erie. However, I don't know if it is there for 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so the little short wave sits there for about 3 or 4 frames, about 4 hours before it kind of straightens itself out to more of a zonal flow. However, the one thing is that Lake Erie is pretty much freezing, or it's not all the way frozen, it's pretty much almost 100% frozen. And so I don't know how much moisture it's going to really put out. So it may not be real thick band, because the past few days there has been snowing off Lake Erie, and it does create this pattern. There is a very, very thin band that'll kind of wisp over the I-90 corridor, and over Batavia, I guess, would be the best location. It's not like those big, thick bands. It's big, thick snow bands when you get at the beginning of the wintertime, that usually get those big, big events where there's like 6 or 7 inches coming down an hour. The temperatures don't look too bad. They're a little low for really creating significant snowfall as well. It's the same thing in the 850 region. So I really think it's going to be somewhat of a wintry mix, and the wind as well is just kind of, okay, so that's actually interesting. So looking from here into the 807, 850 and 700. So it's kind of frozen, but see where the 700 flow around the same frame was going more westerly pattern. 850 is going straight down from the north, which I find very, very interesting. So that could actually help influence some more, bringing some more moisture into the band that will probably form here. You got another, okay, it's pretty much frozen. Another short wave as well. But now my map is now frozen. It won't let me do anything. I have to finish my forecast on my own. But yeah, if you're going to be in Western New York, I can't really do much more. So if you're going to be in Western New York, just drive with caution tomorrow night. Thanks for tuning in. for all those who did tune in. I really appreciate it. Follow, like, and subscribe. Sorry, everything froze up. Kind of came back up, but it's still, I gotta reboot it now. But I appreciate people sitting here with me and listening to me just rant on about trying to forecast for the